Hello, everyone. This is Elena, real estate broker at Union Real Estate. This is the 21st episode, and today I have special guest Ramon Marte with Marte Home Inspections, and we're going to talk about the importance of a home inspection, especially nowadays that we're in this competitive market. And then Massachusetts is one of the few states that are buyers beware. What that means is that buyers need to do their due diligence before purchasing a home. So let me welcome Ramon Marte.
Program today. I'm very fortunate and happy to be here today, sharing some insightful information with your audience and people that are online viewing your channel. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Ramon Marte with Marte Home Inspections. I've been doing home inspections for the past 8 years. Started my own business 4 years ago, providing home inspection, detailed and informative home inspections throughout Massachusetts and Rhode Island. I'm happy to be here today and having a conversation with you.
Awesome. And thank you so much for accepting this invitation. So let's just dive right into the topic. Like, why is it so important to have a home inspection?
Well, it's very important, Elena, because especially I would say first-time home buyers. If you're purchasing a home, you really need a professional, as myself, to run through the property from top to bottom. We'll talk about structural components, electrical, piping, plumbing, different type of big ticket items that are found throughout these properties. In New England, I would say 90 to 95% of the properties are dated back 1900 and back. So we have a lot of older homes that have not sometimes been kept throughout the years on their mechanicals. And as a buyer or even a first-time home buyer, it's very, very important to have a home inspections, regardless of the age of the property, whether it is a 1900 home or it's a newer or a new construction. Sometimes new constructions do merit, they all merit a home inspection, but sometimes we come across safety hazard things that were not done properly on new constructions as well.
That's a good point. Like for new construction, right? They have to still go through like the local home inspection, in the sense that if they put electrical permit or stuff like that, they still have to go through those permitting. You do still emphasize on the importance of the home inspection,
Absolutely.
even they have gone through that.
Yeah, they do go through the local town codes and permits from the cities where they're being built. But again, I would still recommend any buyer to have an unbiased private home inspector go in there and just check out the mechanicals. Where best case scenario is that on a new construction, you go through the home inspection. The home inspector didn't find anything catastrophically wrong or bad in the sense, but at least you got to learn and know the components and how your house operates. Because we will go through all the bells and whistles and that the house has to offer. So at least, I mean, best scenario is that we go through the property, we don't find anything bad or anything major, but at least you've got the one-on-one with a home inspector showing you how the house operates.
Yeah, that's a good point. When I meet my buyers, I do tell them that nothing is perfect, right? Even if there's a new construction or an old home, we'll always find something, whether it's minor or a big ticket item.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So can you elaborate or share some stories like from your clients who happen to have the home inspection and what results or conclusion they came about?
In these past 8 years, I've seen a lot. I come through a lot. One of the biggest ones that we come across is structural damages. Sometimes we as home inspectors, we work the outside, and once we go inside, the first sections of the house that we tend to go to is the basement, because the basement is where all the heart and the soul of the house, all the big ticket items and the components are found. So one of the biggest, disappointment that we as home inspectors and home buyers come across is sometimes when on older homes where they have been neglected over the years, we'll come across infestation of termite damages within the structure of the house, on the beams, on the sill plates, on the joists, on the deck flooring. It's one of those things that, if it's isolated, it has repairs, it's manageable. But once it's infested, the whole entire property, it's something to really to think about seriously. We certainly will recommend the structural engineers to go in there and give the evaluation, further detailed evaluation of the properties. But typically on first-time home buyers, when we come across these issues, they really get discouraged, disappointed, and actually sometimes we don't even continue the home inspections. They just stop the home inspection and continue looking at better properties.
Mm. And what this does, like once like the offer has been accepted with a home inspection contingency, is that at least the buyer could still walk away from the deal, and I help you recoup the deposit.
Just imagine, yes. In this market that we're in now, that they call it a seller's market, I hear stories where a lot of offers are being approached as waiving home inspections. Could you imagine, let's say a first-time home buyer buying a property for X dollar amounts, and you waive a home inspection once you move in? You have an uncle or a friend or someone that's a contractor or a home inspector. Then maybe I'm that lucky guy that's going to go into that basement and check it out for you after you buy the property, and it has been infested with termites, and you need a structural engineer to go in there and give you an assessment of that property. That is one big ticket items that I would not want to be. I wouldn't want to put any client shouldn't be put in a situation that way.
Of course. So what other type of services do you provide?
Other type of services we do provide radon testing. Radon gases is typically canisters that are installed in the basement. They stay at the properties for 48 hours, getting the readings of radons in basements. Radon gas is the second cause of cancer, other than second smoke cigarettes. We also provide what's called a water testing control quality test, which is more for private well systems for in the homes that are in suburbs away from the city that is not public water. And we also provide a wood and pest inspection, which is identifying any termite history on the exterior or the interior of the properties.
And do you mention that you also do like home inspection, like even pre-inspections?
Yes, pre-inspections. Pre-inspections are popular for sellers. So a pre-inspection is dedicated mostly for sellers that are want a professional as myself to run through the properties with them, and just jot down, recommend anything that we find out of the ordinary, or anything repairs that we may find that will be convenient for them, to not to delay the process once that house goes in the market. And we'll just run down exactly what we do with a normal home inspections. We'll run down to the entire property and provide them at the end of that inspection or that pre-inspection a list of items, a summary list of items that we recommend that they fix, upgrade before they put the house in the market.
I see. Okay. So are there any cases where you do not recommend having a home inspection?
That's a tough question, Elena. But it has an answer. The only scenario that I see it happen, and it all depends on my buyer. So let me give you two scenarios. First scenario, you have investors out there that are used to flipping houses. They buy single families, they'll fix them, they'll resell them, and they have multifamilies where they've gone to this process 10, 15, 20 times, which is the home inspection process. They have a team of builders, contractors, engineers that they're very connected to, and they're used to working with. So they know the building industry, they know homes, they know how, even though they're not home inspector, they have an idea for what a house is. For those guys in this market, would I recommend they waive a home inspection? That's up to them. I wouldn't recommend it, but if they are, they're going to have a team in place that is going to guide them. A single family home, a second time buyer, or a first time home buyer, would I recommend waiving a home inspection? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No matter how attractive or how much you like the house, the neighborhood, the area, a home inspection is very, very, very important.
Yeah, for sure. Like this is a disclaimer that I always provide to my clients, like especially in this market where many buyers are like waiving the home inspection to at least get a chance to get their offer accepted, is that like it comes with the knowledge that there is a risk that they are taking, right? Like
Yeah.
buying a home without a home inspection is like you just don't know what you're buying, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and I get it. I know the market is calling for it, but if you're a first-time buyer or even a second-time buyer, especially on an older home, you really want to get an analysis of what the house, the pros and the cons that the house has to offer, and hopefully the pros are less than the cons.
For sure. Is there any other tips or recommendation that you want to provide to our viewers today?
Tips and recommendation. Get a team in place together. You have your realtors, you have your attorneys, you have your lenders, and you should have in place a home inspection provider or a local home inspection company that a friend refer, or even sometimes agents have a connection with a local home inspection company that they're accustomed to working with. Just have that number on your speed dial. So when you do find the properties or the home that you fall in love with, call that home inspection company and book that appointment. Sometimes this time of year we are booked out, sometimes 3, 4, 5, 6, up to a week in advance. You typically have a 7 or 10 business days once your offer is accepted to get a home inspection in. So time is the clock is ticking. So have in place the home inspection, the provider that's going to provide your home inspection. If you're given the option to have a home inspection, which in this market a lot of people unfortunately are not even given that option. But please, it's very important. A home inspection is key. It's a key part of the transactions of buying your future homes.
And some of the frequent question that I get from the buyers regarding the home inspection is like, how long does it take to have the home inspection? And then like, how soon enough would they get their report?
Excellent. Typically, a home inspection takes, depending on the size, the square footage of the house, anywhere from 2 to 2.5 hours, sometimes 3 hours for a multifamily. And the home inspection report is done digitally as we going through the property. We provide information on our smartphones. So you'll receive that inspection report that same evening, the day of the home inspection. You'll receive a full PDF report template with everything that's going on inside those properties.
Okay. So another question that I frequently get is that as a buyer, do I need to be present during the home inspection, or can I just rely on your inspection report?
If you're out of state in California, I've had people fly in to do their home inspections. If you're locally, you're encouraged to be at the home inspection along with your agents. Why? Because if you get a 50 or 60 page report from a home inspector and you haven't gone through the process, you're going to spend at least an hour on the phone with me afterwards trying to read or trying to understand the verbiage that we're trying to explain on the stuff that's happening inside the house. And plus, at the same time, you're buying your new house. You really want to know the components, how your house operates, the bells and whistles that the house has to offer. So it is very important that buyers and their respective agents be present at the time of the home inspections. I encourage them.
Yeah, I highly recommend that. Unless they are not physically here, at least I would recommend to have a trusted person attending the home inspection for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there is a question in this market. If sellers are trying to get buyers to waive the home inspection, what can the buyer try to do in order to negotiate an inspection in?
What can a buyer try to do to negotiate? Well, at least if you're buying the house as is without no home inspection, just to get your contract signed, the minimum that you guys should do as a buyer, I would recommend, is doing what's called after they call it a pre-inspection or informational only home inspection.
Mm-hmm.
You reach out to a professional as myself and go in there and perform a home inspection, given the fact that no matter what I say or what the report says on the report, you can't go back to the buyer and say, I want a discount. You haven't all the boiler and all the water heater. I want to negotiate these things. You would have no options for negotiations, none whatsoever of what we find. But small ticket items like those were great. But what happens if we go in there and this house is structurally, falling down or is infested with termites? At least you still have that option that you've given that $1,000 deposit and you pay for a home inspection services. You can walk away and lose that money and say, keep the $1,000. I lost the home inspection money, but I'm not going to buy a house infested with termites where a structural engineer is pretty much going to have to come in here and rearrange everything that's going on. And you're talking expenses of tens of thousands of dollars. So
Yeah,
I would call it an informational only home inspection.
Yeah, correct. So like what I usually advise or recommend to the buyers if they're considering waiving the home inspection because of their decision is that at least either have the home inspection for information purposes only, like Ramon mentioned, or have like a cap on a certain dollar amount, whether like you will be able to sustain that amount, and then the rest, like you can still negotiate with the seller because nonetheless in this market is going so fast. The seller wants a smooth transaction, right? But like the buyer, when we represent the buyer, we want to make sure that they are buying a property like that they feel first safe, right? And then that they know what they're buying. So it's highly recommended that you do hire the expert in order to find out, unless you do the due diligence like way prior even putting the offer sometimes.
Absolutely, Elena. I mean, I take my job very, very personal and very seriously. I started Marte Home Inspection about 3.5 years ago because I wanted to work for not only as a business, but I work for a community. A community of buyers are part of my community. You guys are as agents are part of my community, and at the end of the day, it's people's lives. You're dealing with, especially sometimes for first-time home buyers. First-time home buyers, they're real tight as it is because they're first-time home buyer. They may not have the capital or the luxury of money set aside for big repairs or any big ticket items that may arise during a home inspection. That's why you have a home inspection. And if that's the case, then you can go back and negotiate. But in this market, it is what it is. People are waiving home inspections. I would recommend at least informational only home inspection. Because losing $1,000 as a deposit or whatever the deposit may be nowadays, or $550 for a home inspection, you lost $1,500. But if you have a house that needs a new roof, has structural damages, has termite infestation, you're really not losing a lot of money. You're really walking away from a real problem, a big ticket items. So again, in this day and age, home inspection, a regular home inspection with its normal process will be ideal. Unfortunately, we are in the market that we're in. Informational purpose is second best. I would highly recommend an informational only home inspection before you continue with the process.
That's a good point. Like recently I had a first-time home buyer gladly will put the home inspection continuously in to find out that the furnace was not working, right? And then the seller insisted that it works. We came in with the plumber just to verify the situation. So for us to find out that it was dead, like the heating system was not working. So that was a tap of at least $12,000 for the buyer should they have not, included the home inspection.
Could you imagine? And hopefully it wasn't in February. Could you imagine moving into your new house you just purchased in the middle of February and your furnace is gone and you have to come up with $12,000?
I know, especially for first-time home buyer, that they are sometimes limited with their deposits or reserves. So even though they there was a expense that you mentioned, like the deposit plus the inspection cost, but at least she's not taking a home that has a bigger expense.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people tell me, new construction, is it worth it to have a home inspection? I tell people all the time, the best thing that can happen to you as a buyer on a new construction is that we as home inspector ran through the whole house. We found nothing major, nothing safety-wise that alerts. At least you got to learn the ins and out, all the bells and whistles, how your house operates. And that's a big investment, I think.
Very good. So we do have a question from our audience, William Ruiz. He is in California, and he mentioned in California, we normally have issues with water heater not properly strapped, and some of the older homes lacking heating source. There are basic and noticeable to the naked eye issues. But how about an electrical issue? Does an inspector have the qualification to call an electrical issue that may cause a near in the future hazard?
On a water heater specific?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do look at the installations in New England. We have three types of water heaters here. We have the gas, we have electric water heaters, and we have the storage tank. They're very typical here in New England. We do check all the connections, whether they're gas or electric. If there's a gas issue, we recommend a plumber. If there is a bad connections on electrical or amateur electrical connections that we spot on site, we will recommend the licensed electrician further go in there and take a look at that.
Okay. All right, so we are almost at the end of our time. Is there anything else that you would like to add, Ramon?
Again, we'll emphasize to buyers, whether you're a first-time home buyer, whether you're second, third-time buyers, whether you're an investor buying properties, at least have the home inspection informational purpose only, regardless of what the market is like or what you're seeing on Instagram, on Trulia, on Facebook. The houses look pretty. Everything looks pretty in the picture and in camera, except for me. I'm sure I don't look that pretty in camera. But home inspection is key to a property. Home inspection is very, very important, guys.
All right. Thank you so much, Ramon. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in today's episode. Our next episode will be next month. We're going to have Martin Yao, who we're going to do a mid-year housing market recap. So stay tuned for more details, and I hope that you can tune in. And then don't forget to like our page at unionrealestatellc.com and follow us in any of the social media. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you.
Thank you.